Hello, everyone. I am so happy that you're here. We have someone today who is an old friend that we reconnected, and I mean connected. And today I'd like to talk about connection. It's divine connection, whatever you want to call it, ethereal. There's something energetic connection, if you will, neurolinguistics. I'd like to talk about that today and really dive into this and come up with solutions for all of us. That's why it's called Still Standing Up. Been knocked down. I've been knocked down a lot. You've been knocked down a lot. We're up here, and here we go. Ricky Powell's our guest. I'm glad you're with us. Hi, welcome to Still Standing Up. Today, my guest, I'm just trying to play something like, PBS. Today, my guest is Ricky Powell. We were just on Instagram Live. Hi, Instagram Live again. Now we are live in the podcast within this whole virtual community that we're forming, and hopefully you're connected with us. Download us, spread the word. This is called Still Standing Up. It's a podcast about helping people to stand up for yourself with courage, with commitment. We'll give you the tips. We have great guests like we have today. It's about turning your life around. How are you going to turn your life around? All the obstacles. This guy's had quite a few obstacles. We're about to get to it, including almost drowned twice. Is that true?
That is very true. And in completely
most people
different
haven't
ways.
almost drowned like once, but you've
Right.
almost drowned twice.
Twice. Once happened really slowly. I just saw
slow,
my whole...
a slow drowning?
in the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was swimming through a cave. We jumped out of the boat. They brought the big boat around the other side of it was the Green Grotto. Because the Blue Grotto was closed, which happens when the water level gets too high.
And then you get under there.
And everyone goes in. And I was just I wanted to relax, right, Craig? I wanted to be present. Just kind of close my eyes, and I'm treading water. And the next thing I know...
you're above, but your head's above water.
Yeah, my head's above water,
Okay.
but
you
no
weren't
life jacket.
You weren't in the tunnel.
No, yeah, I was just at the front of the tunnel.
Okay.
But unbeknownst to me, everyone was swimming all the way through. They were getting on the boat, which was getting farther and farther away. The next thing I knew, I looked up, and the boat was like, picture across the street from where we are right now. That's how far the boat is. So I better start swimming. So I start swimming. I'm getting nowhere. The current was so strong, it was holding me back.
Yeah.
I started bobbing up and down. I'm like, like waving my hands. And I'm watching my wife climb onto the back of the boat. And I'm thinking, this is how it's going to end. I'm going to drown in the Mediterranean Sea. And luckily, she was pointing back, and she said, I think my husband's in trouble. And the captain, in broken English, this was in Italy, says, oh, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Anyway, they threw me a life ring, and thank God, but I thought it was over.
I'm glad they saw you, and I'm glad
Thank
you
God.
have a good enough marriage that she went back for you.
Right?
I've had some
know.
wives that might not come back.
Yeah. And
I actually, one time, I was with my now ex-wife and my family. This is kind of indicative of who I am. I come from poverty, so sometimes that doesn't leave, even though I've done very well. And I was with my dad, of all people, which I never am with my dad, and he's got this boat. And we go in this area, and we're crabbing. And the crab trap, we put the crab trap in, but then no one tied the string up to the string, so the whole crab trap is sinking. I wasn't even thinking. I just dove in after the trap.
No.
In the current. So I almost didn't get out of that.
Yeah.
So my cheapness almost killed me. So I know about. So you had two different drowning episodes.
Right, and then several years later, this was just a few years back. We were river rafting with our whitewater rafting with our best friends.
Love it.
And I had never been before, and so we went through the little training they do ahead of time. It's like a 3 or 4 day excursion in the middle of the American River, California. Anyway. We're going into the first class 4 rapid.
Mm-hmm.
It's going in a little cockeyed, and as we're going in, my wife and I are there, and our 2 kids, and our son, who like towers over me, sitting over here. It started rocking. He stood up and fell into me and launched me out of the boat. Launched me out of the raft in a class 4 rapid.
Not intentional.
And I mean, no, of course not.
I'm
I
just
don't
kidding.
think so. No, but no, of course he felt horribly. But in the meantime, like I did everything the opposite of what they said to do. You're supposed to,
Go with the
face
rapid.
downstream
Right,
and not
yeah.
worry about the raft or whatever and tuck or what.
You're
I
trying.
did the exact opposite. I turned around. I'm like climbing onto the thing, and finally, thank God, the guide was strong enough. He just,
Pulls
pulled
you
me
back
up,
in. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm on the floor. It was bad, but that one was quick. The other one was slow. Very strange.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you enjoy though the whitewater rafting?
Well, once that part was over,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was.
Once you almost die, it's
Once
all
I
good.
almost
It's all
died,
good. It's all gravy from
it
there.
was all good. It was all good, except the meat bees that kept coming at dinner. Like there were a lot of bees.
I have to tell you, whitewater rafting, 2 different times were up there in the top 5 incidents of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, because it has everything. I remember I was with my family, so that's always wonderful. And it has adventure. It's got peace and serenity. It's got laughter. You go attack other boats. Did you do that? With like splash other boats?
Yeah, we kind of did that. To
Yeah,
each
you go
other.
and attack
Right,
them. It's
right.
just fun, and it's so exhilarating, and you're taking a risk, and you get over it. And the best part for me was when my kids, who were in great fear, that's a lot of fear. They ended up like my daughter. That was another time I went. She ended up like in the front of the boat, like a rodeo clown, like just bouncing up and down. Like we had to like pull her back in. She was a nut. But she started off, I'm not doing them. Especially there's a thing called splat rock. Do you remember splat rock? That's what they call it, splat rock. That's really good for the kids.
Yeah.
And my kids made it through the first generation of kids and then the second generation. It was beautiful. I mean, when you have that victory in life, period. So it's a very metaphorical and symbolic when you take these whitewater rafting trips. I'm going to go this year. You want to go?
No, thanks.
You won't be in the same boat with me. So I'm glad you said no thanks, because that really tells me so it doesn't rank up there.
It really doesn't.
Wow.
Only because, I'm much more comfortable at California Adventure, in the thing with the roaring rapids. Like that's much more my pace when it comes to
and
that.
it's contained and they have it down.
Right.
And,
Yeah. Exactly. You're not going to get hurt.
Yeah. They have right, but that's what they have. Every ounce of water is accounted for, and they know exactly what they're doing. But as opposed to Mother Nature's got her own plans sometimes.
Yeah.
And I've done every single adventure. I was thinking about that. Have you ever done like skydiving, hang gliding? I've done all of those things.
It's funny you mention especially skydiving, because that is something that I've wanted to do since I'm a kid. And now the older I've gotten, I never got around to it, whatever.
Does the desire increase or decrease?
It's decreased.
Yeah, same
It's
here.
decreased.
I mean, I've done it all,
You know
but I
why?
don't have any desire to do them again.
Because you know what, Craig? It's like when you cherish life,
Right.
as we do,
Right.
You have to start considering those things and thinking, like there's that line between wanting to conquer your fears, which I have done many times, and there's no feeling like it, right? I mean, when you conquer a fear, it's amazing. And at the same time, you got to think like, am I tempting fate a little too much? So
The higher the hurdle, the better the feel. That's the thing is if you just go over a speed bump, you think nothing of it. If you climb a mountain, you're feeling very victorious. And I do believe that it is symbolic of life. So the more things, I enjoy challenges. Now, I won't do those. Those are almost, now to this point, they're almost like fake challenges, because it's like one shot and it's like proving it to yourself. And I've done it already. So now the challenges are just people and relationships and business and taking those chances and taking chances with our art. Now you're in some transitions in your life, right? These are challenges, much more so because they're sustainable and they're everyday challenges of literally making a living now.
correct.
Living in a society that's very, very imbalanced. And how are you dealing with it? What do you do? What do you do to, deal with these series of skydives that we're in?
Yeah, professional skydives,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, first of all, I believe that there are no accidents. I think everything happens for a reason. That's always been sort of my personal philosophy.
Yeah.
And so I started my professional career at the age of 7, right? I always wanted to be on TV. I pointed to the camera and said, I want to be in there. And, and the
You
next
pointed to the TV and said, I want to be in there.
Yeah, exactly.
You
'cause
actually thought it was live. And
I was so fascinated with the whole concept.
Wasn't it amazing?
It was
I thought if
amazing.
we had a bigger TV, because we had a small TV, I'd be able to see the girl's boobs in the shampoo commercial.
Well, that makes sense.
She would shampoo, the Prel shampoo, and she'd get cut off, and I would go to the TV, look down. I think I saw a nipple.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Is that why you have the big 77-inch?
oh yeah, I got a big screen. I get it all in 3D. So we have those fascinations when you're a kid. It's dreamlike. It's Narnia.
Yes.
And you want to enter into that world, and you actually got to enter into that world. You were a child actor.
Yeah, it was.
Tell us what you did then.
Yeah, so I started when I was about 7 years old, and the very first TV show I did was an episode of Bewitched.
Which is crazy. My old friend Erin.
Right.
Yeah, she played Tabitha.
Yeah.
Did you meet her then?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we hung out.
Were you in the episode with her?
I was in both. Well, much more so in the first episode I was in, where Samantha traded places with the Good Tooth Fairy.
Yeah.
I played Sidney Kravitz, Mrs. Kravitz's nephew.
No, that's like a recurring
It was-
role. Is it recurred twice?
It was a 2-part episode, although I think they cut me out for reruns.
Which
of the second part.
Mrs. Kravitz was it?
It was the second one, Sandra Gould.
Okay, the
Yeah.
second one. They were both great.
They were?
I
Yeah.
can't remember which one I liked the most. I mean, they were both so wonderful. They were great. Abner.
Yes.
Was Abner the same Abner for both of the Mrs. Kravitzes?
I don't remember.
I just loved that. They were.
I don't. You know what? I don't think so.
I don't think so
I
either.
think there were 2 Abners too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's she had cancer, so if you watch the first one, the 1st Mrs. Kravitz, you can watch her become skinnier and skinnier as the episodes go, and then she passed away. And Erin has some great stories about that, and that was a classic show.
Sure.
I mean, what was it like? That's your first job ever in
yes,
television?
yeah.
You're watching Bewitched, and then you're
Right.
on it.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
freaky.
I know.
That's freaky. It's like one of your favorite. There you are around the television, then you're in the television.
Yeah, I'm literally living my dream.
Oh, that's nuts.
as a kid.
I can't even imagine as a kid. I remember as a kid, television, when I first got my taste of television, it was horrible what it did. The Gene London show. I said, I want to go watch the Gene London show. There's a Golden Fleece. You get to pet the Golden Fleece, Quigley Mansion, and all of this. He gets squirted with seltzer. It was like a Saturday morning, not cartoon. He hosted cartoons. And I got there. Oh, my God. It was so disappointing. Quigley Mansion was a cardboard cutout. They didn't choose me. I was like only 3 people in the audience, and they didn't choose to pet the Golden Fleece. I hated that guy for doing that. But everything, the fantasies came crashing down. And I'm sure when you're on a set, they are as well. When you're a kid,
But
you're going, this is how they do this? It's not magic?
Well, but it was fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I mean, who ever would have thought that it was as simple as freeze? You almost did the Danny Thomas spit take. Yeah, it was literally freeze. And everyone froze, and then someone would leave or someone would come back, and then, okay, action. And then we continued. It was amazing. So much fun.
So they tell you to freeze, and then they reset.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah,
turn the camera on. Those are the special effects back then.
exactly. Right.
Weren't you also the Let Go My Ego guy?
Right. Yep, I did the first Lego My Ego commercial.
Lego My Ego.
Yeah.
I thought it was Let Go My Ego. See, I got that wrong. But it is Lego.
It's
It means
Lego,
let go.
Leggo, short for let go.
It is.
right.
Okay. Okay.
But it is, because Ego is the product, and
Right.
so they just said Lego My Ego. And my mom and I went on the audition, and it's, the page, the script for it was like, 1 page, and we looked and it said Lego My Ego, and we looked at each other and said, what the hell is an Ego? Like, we hadn't even heard of it.
That's right. It's a brand new product.
It was kind of,
Well, you're
I
the
think
first to do a commercial,
the
so it
first
had to
in
be a
this
brand new
form,
product. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it had evolved or something, but this was like their big national push to get it out there.
And your mom is taking you to these auditions and things like that, driving you into the
God
different
bless her.
casting.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
She wanted to support my dream, and I was so blessed and lucky.
And lucky that she wasn't like a stage mom.
Exactly. Oh, the producers loved her because she always had an upbeat smile on her face, always warm and friendly.
Hard candy, giving it to people.
She was awesome. She was awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
How about that television series I actually turned you on to about the child actors at Nickelodeon?
I know.
What's it called again?
Quiet on the Set.
Quiet on the Set. What a great title. I should have remembered that, but it's really about some things that were going on that were pretty disturbing.
Yeah, really.
And, well, you want to tell us your take on it? Because you were a child actor, and so watching that's why I thought of you. I said, you should see this because I want to know if it was any of your experience on these predators that are around.
No, thank God, no. In fact, I said to my wife, like, I wonder if that sort of thing even existed back when, in the late 60s, early 70s. I guess it probably did.
Excuse me.
It definitely did.
Ricky, come on now. It's existed. Caligula was doing this stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just been going on for literally since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, these pedophiles, they know exactly the roads to take. I had a whole episode about this recently. They know the roads to take. They know that you're going to turn your head because you need them for whatever it is.
Right.
And they needed these guys, whether they're an actor or whether they're helping out on the set or whatever they were. And then people go into denial. What I couldn't believe is the amount of people, actors and famous people that wrote in support of the pedophiles.
Yes.
They disclosed they unsealed those records. That was fascinating. People that we know. I could out them because it's already on. It's on the documentary, but really shocking that they would. By the way, I mentioned this to you, and we'll move on. I wrote to Drake Bell.
Oh.
I wrote to him, and he wrote back.
Oh.
Yeah, I just told him. I said,
Sweet.
"Listen, thank you for your courage."
Yeah.
I think when people come out like that, they need to be lauded and applauded and encouraged, and let them know how brave that was. So he wrote me back. I was surprised, and I wrote him a direct message on Instagram. It helps I have the blue check.
Right. Well, I think that's beautiful. I'm glad you did that, and I'm glad he wrote back.
The blue check gets you through to a lot of people. Now, speaking of show business, you've had some turnarounds and some difficulties. You had to deal with a sociopath, and was he diagnosed a sociopath, or is that just his behavior spells that out?
Yeah, behavior totally spells it out. And I'll put it this way. He was indicted by the Department of Labor for embezzling $22,000 from his own union.
Oh, wow.
And
$22,000?
Yeah.
Not that much.
It's not that much.
It's still a lot,
That's why
though.
they
We
let
could all
it
use
slide,
22,000,
I'm sure,
yeah.
But no, he was a pathological liar. And so...
And tell me about... This is what I always say to people, like even if I'm coaching them. I say, give me an example as opposed to the label. Like
sure.
Yeah, so give me an example of a lie.
I will give you a perfect example.
Great.
The editor in the edit bay where we were working, he hated the editor. Of course, he hated everyone. He was an equal opportunity terrorizer, but he really hated the editor. He wanted to get him fired. And so he said to me, like, we were in the middle of an edit session, and the editor was also doing a simultaneous job that didn't need to be monitored. He was making like a closed caption cassette or something. And so this gentleman said to me, I need you to punch bars into his tape, into the closed caption tape or something. And I said, what?
Punch bars.
In other words, what he was asking me to do is he was asking me to sabotage this editor's tape so that he could get him fired. Right?
Really?
Yes.
He asked you to do the sabotage.
Yeah. Now, this isn't the crazy part yet.
Okay.
Okay.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. So I said, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. So he asked me to put on one of his guys that work for him, because I did not. I worked with him, not for him. And then the guy pretended not to speak English. Like, English was not his first language. And so as this maniac was describing what he wanted done, his helper said, no, no, I don't, So he puts me back on the phone and he says, he's too stupid. If this other guy were there, he'd do it. Just leave it on my desk. I'll take care of it in the morning. I'll do it myself. So I did. He met me at the lobby the next day and said, we have a big problem. It looks like the editor made a huge mistake. He was talking to me as if we never even had the conversation.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
And this is someone you worked with for a while.
9 years.
9 years?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, 9 years.
It's hard to have a relationship with anyone But it's definitely difficult to have a relationship with someone who's a narcissist or a sociopath. I mean, and I think there's a lot more of it out there. Again, I do this show to help people, make them aware of situations they might not be aware of. They might not understand what it is. But one of the things with sociopaths and narcissists, they're kind of like can be the same. Have you found this to be the case? When you call them out, it's literally they will go into full attack mode and deflection mode. They're not going to talk about what you're bringing up to them. They're going to do everything to bring it over to here.
Yes.
And attack you personally, accuse you, or name call. And again, anyone watching or listening, trust me on this one. The best thing you can do is walk away as much as possible. I understand sometimes you don't think you can, but many times you can. And this is the thing that, tell me if you experience this. When you walk away from something like that, thinking to yourself, oh my God, I'm about to leave my steady income, or I'm about to, something that they know that they're locked into you. It could even be a marriage. They know they're locked into you. You can't walk away without great bravery and great dealing with your fears. But this is what I know. When you do that and you let go, abundance comes because now you're in flow. It's unbelievable how this paradigm works. I'm shocked at the amount of times. I just had it happen recently. I was dealing with this guy. Turns out he's a scammer, con artist, and we kept catching him. And he could double talk, and we watched him. He would stutter. And we would say to him, and very friendly, well, that doesn't make sense. You said this thing, and finally we've had enough. No, we're going to cut this. And it's going to be at a loss, a personal loss. I wrote checks. And you know what? Immediately, 20 times the money's coming in.
Right.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Did that work with the sociopath?
It did, in the sense that, like, everyone else around surrounding us that we worked with would say to me, like, how do you work with him? I mean, how has he not driven you out? And I always said the same thing. I am not going to let this bully me out of the best job that I've ever had. It's not going to happen. But what it did do, and again, kind of, I think it goes to the point of everything happening for a reason, the pain that I was in and experiencing in having to work with him is what drove me to pick up my first book on the subject of happiness. It was in an effort to try and help him, but really also help myself get through it.
Of course, help
right?
you, but you want it. That's what the first instinct is, always to help someone else. But you really have to help yourself first. Which includes the surrender, by the way.
Correct.
That's a big help.
Yeah. And I became so fascinated with the topic. I read every book on the topic. I listened to every program. I wrote my own book in 2012 on happiness.
It's how we met.
It is.
It's how we met. We met because you had the Smile Network, and it's so much in resonance with where I come from. Don't you find it's so ironic that show business, it's very negative. It's the opposite. And look what's popular.
I know.
Like, I'm pitching all the time. I have a lot of projects and things. And, of course, the number one thing I'm probably going to get made, the horror film. It's like, and then it'll say to me, I produce reality TV. Nobody's watching my little good shows, but they want that true crime.
Right.
Isn't it amazing? But here's what I have to say. The reason you're on here, and most people are on here, is even if we're a small group and definitely a minority, it doesn't mean we need to go away because we're not the most popular.
People need it.
We need it. So we're here for just the willing. Anyone listening to this, watching this, come join. Come join the happiness group. Yep. Do you have an actual group where people can sign up and be a part of it?
So I'm in the process of recreating that. For years, I had lifelonghappiness.com.
I love it.
Thank you. It was my baby. I put so much into it. I never really created it, though, in the way that I knew I wanted it to be, and so I pulled it down. Like right now, I was working with a company called Southwestern Consulting for a while, so like a business and sales coach, and so right now I have the domain just pointed to my page there. But, and largely thanks to you. I mean, when we reconnected, I just got so inspired to do what I love. And so I'm in the process now of reorganizing it so that, and I have a Facebook group called Masterminds of Lifelong Happiness. There are over 5,000 members
Oh,
right
right,
in that
nice.
group. But I want to take that and really make it more
put some
mainstream.
steroids into it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with this is I'm sure you've run across this as well. And again, maybe some people out there who are listening want to participate, maybe start a GoFundMe or whatever it is, or donations. I think they do donations on Instagram, whatever it is. Let's participate in this. Put a few bucks in, and Laughter Heals. I have a Laughter Heals organization, and we go to hospitals, aftercare facilities, wounded warriors, and things like that. Help with first responders, and even their spouses have it difficult. It's so much stress out there, and this is the alternative. But I think that people go the opposite. They have the alternative to get away from the stress. They dive into more stress because of what we're watching.
Yeah.
That's the irony. And then there's the stress of, oh my God, I don't have enough followers. Then there's the stress of I'm not popular. There's the stress of finances. All of those things, these are stressors.
Right.
As opposed to if you get it at the root, at the happiness root, those things kind of become meaningless. Those things become shifted into abundance. That's and more of that I believe needs to be taught and shared and things like that, and groups to getting together. So we'll make that proclamation and we'll make that happen.
100%, Craig. And I have to say, none of this is by accident, right? Like, there's a reason that we're drawn toward the drama and all of that. It's because our brains are not wired to make us happy. They're wired to keep us alive.
Yeah.
Right. And the way
point.
and the way that happens is it's the fight or flight thing that we all learn about as kids. And so they say we have up to 65,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thoughts.
Oh,
they're all
I might double that.
right. They're all I'm sure they're all either positively or negatively charged, right? Thoughts are things, they all have a positive or negative aspect. And they find that up to 85% of our thoughts on a daily basis are negative. And it's because it's our survival instinct. We want to stay alive.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, it's, it can be spirit crushing and all of that. So it takes a concerted effort to feed your brain the positive stuff that's going to keep you moving forward.
I just thought of something. Like a solution is I won't have one negative thought sitting here with you. Right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Think about that. So if you
vice
surround
versa.
yourself, I always call them rarefied air, the rarefied air people. I love them. And they're starting to come around more often. And the other ones are starting to go away, including the frauds and things like that. Don't really get involved in lawsuits. Go ahead. Take your money. Glad you beat me. I'm going to move on to a positive space and watch what happens. Now, money goes towards negative things, obviously. It goes through, like, for instance, Washington, D.C. is filled with bribery. That's exactly how laws are executed and mandated. These are because they are bribed, literally, to shift to some selfish effort.
Right.
So we don't have strength in numbers, that's for sure. There's no laughter lobby. There's no happiness lobby. There's no secretary of happiness.
Nope.
If I was president, there would be.
Yeah. I mean, I used to call myself the chief happiness officer. I think Ronald McDonald might have been one of the original chief happiness officers, although there's a little irony there with the whole diet, health, thing and all that, which is a big passion of mine, by the way,
It's mind, body, spirit, and people forget the body when you start eating that crap.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything negative. And by the way, McDonald's, if you'd like to sponsor me, I'm here. Okay. All right. Well, I'll say wonderful things. As a matter of fact, just last night, it's funny you should say that, McDonald's. I never talk about McDonald's, but just last night I had a McDonald's conversation. According to who I was with, there's a new double cheeseburger that's outstanding. And I said, come on, you can't top the Big Mac. I used to pound down Big Macs because they said the burger is thicker. They said, no, they didn't do it to the Big Mac, just this one. So I'm going to have to give it a try. We'll see what happens. Oh, I know what we were talking about. The overrated, you know what I'm going to say? What burger is overrated? Maybe you don't find it overrated.
Well, I've been vegan for 7 years, so
no! Before you were vegan,
okay, Big Mac. I would imagine. The quarter pounder.
No, the overrated burger joint, a fast
burger
food place.
joint.
Yes.
Oh, In-N-Out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In and Out, come on.
Yeah.
Again, if you want to sponsor us, In and Out, I absolutely love In and Out.
And my family loves
my
In-N-Out.
children go crazy
Yes,
for In and Out.
as-
I
as
don't
do
get
mine.
it.
I don't either.
There are people that just heard. Oh my God! Somebody he just gave us the two. This happens.
10 minutes.
Oh,
10
okay. I
minutes.
thought he said two. In the headphones, if people are watching here, we're told things in the headphones. Nothing extraordinary. Nothing, mind blowing or fear based or anything. Yeah, go ahead, scare me. Go, say something scary. I wanted to talk to you about neurolinguistics.
Mm.
You've studied this. Is that correct?
Yeah, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming.
A lot of people talk about that, and I've studied this and so on. But I've never had anyone on to explain it
Okay.
as best you can explain it to people that are.
Mhm.
I was just talking about it this morning where I was getting my hair cut. And again, this is something we need in society.
Yeah.
And tell us how we need it. What did it do for you?
So neuro-linguistic programming, this is really what Tony Robbins has been doing all of these years,
Yeah.
And he started. I remember seeing his first infomercial when I was 23 years
91.
old, right, or even earlier, like 85-ish.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not.
Okay.
I think he was only 27, but
Yeah.
here he is fixing everyone's problems, and I'm thinking this guy's a genius, because it doesn't matter what your problem is, he has the answer. I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
And so I became fascinated with NLP, and I finally ended up getting certified several years back. It's a set of tools, and there's so many quirky definitions. My favorite one is it's like the lost user manual for the human mind. And it's a set of tools. It's all about influence, and it's used a lot in sales. It can be used for evil as well as good, right? Sometimes it's about them trying to separate you from your money.
Give me an example of
right?
how it would be used for good. Like, let's say I was your a client.
Right. So if you have any fears, phobias, that sort of thing, or if you really want a big, hairy, audacious goal that you want to have as an outcome,
Let's
whatever
be
it
specific.
is.
Let's work with me. Let's be specific.
Right.
Let's
Okay,
do this.
so first
Let's do some work here.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, do you have any fears that you want to overcome or phobias?
That's a good
Anything
one.
like that?
That's a good one. I have the only thing that comes to mind, I have something. I love to be transparent, and I will be here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that there's victory with transparency, and vulnerability is a superpower. So I'm going to admit mine.
Okay.
I have a fear of my ex-wife. And it's a fear of the unknown, because I had another ex-wife who went on really, really bad attacks of just like utilizing every mechanism known to woman. And, because the guys, we're labeled out of the chute. We're bad people, men. And I get it. Patriarchal society and what we've done since the beginning of time. I get it. I was very much in support of, feminism. But just like anything, it's swung so far that we are immediately guilty before anything. So that is now used. And same with the guys have been abusive all these years. Well, that's off the table now, because you even look at someone wrong and you're done.
Right.
So my ex used that to try to get more custody. It didn't work, but she was never punished for it. And now this ex, I'm afraid. So take me through NLP.
Okay. And
I'm afraid of what she's going to do next.
And by the way, if we run out of time, because I don't know how hard and fast the 10-minute rule is or whatever. But and by the way, if we run out of time, we can finish off camera or we could do another one.
Yeah, we'll make Ricky a sequel.
Exactly.
I mean, it's going to take whatever it takes, and I just want to hear some.
So
take me through the process, so I can have
sure.
a better understanding. I'm doing this for others,
Right.
but somebody might relate to these fears.
Right.
And I do understand if fear is false evidence appearing real. I do get it, but I'm just being candid and honest for the sake of helping others.
Yeah.
This is something that a lot of people go through, rumors or whatever it is, and to other people, especially former spouses, they go about things that are very, very toxic. and it takes you down a road that's filled with fear because you don't know what's next.
Yeah.
So tell me, what can I do?
So, what is the feeling? What is the state or the feeling that you would like to have regarding your ex-wife?
State of absolute bliss, and I've had it.
Okay.
You know, believe it or not, I've had it from me admitting everything, and me making full amends, and me doing 22 pages of mea culpa, an apology, and setting a new vibration. That is definitely the way to go.
Right.
I get it.
Okay.
But I'm asking you, let's pretend I don't have any of those skills.
Right. So.
And I do possess those skills, and I also wander off the path. And I'm very spiritual, and sometimes I go away from God, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But I'm doing this kind of like as an example for someone listening
Mm-hmm.
who's stuck.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have these tools. Tell me
Right.
the tools. How's it work?
Okay. So, are you willing to close your eyes? Can you close your
Yeah,
eyes?
of course. Love it.
Now, you mentioned bliss.
Mm,
You'd like to be in the state of bliss
Yeah.
when you think about your ex-wife.
yeah.
So, can you, Craig, remember a time when you felt blissful?
Oh, yeah.
Can you remember a specific time?
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. So
Don't make me cry now.
I want you to go there. I want you to go there, and if you cry, that's fine too.
Okay,
You
all
have
right.
permission.
Well,
We're
the
being-
bliss is a beautiful place, and it does
Yeah.
draw tears.
Yeah, but they're tears of joy,
Yes.
right?
And love.
And love.
Yeah. Divine.
And so I want you to just be in that state of bliss right now and remember that specific time and see what you were seeing in that moment, hear what you were hearing, feel what you were feeling, smell what you were smelling, taste what you were tasting in that moment. Okay? And now I want you to take your index finger, take your right index finger, and just touch your first knuckle. Just touch your first knuckle, okay? And when you press down on your knuckle, I want you to really experience that feeling of bliss.
Yeah.
Okay? And do it again.
I'm there.
And Craig, I want you to know that when you speak with or see or talk about your ex-wife, you can go here. You can go here in an instant.
Yeah.
Okay? You're anchoring right now. You're anchoring that feeling of bliss to the feeling that you may have whenever you want it. When you're thinking about your ex-wife, there's no reason to feel anything else.
It's beautiful.
And that power is in your hands.
Right there. Just press my knuckle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. It's wonderful.
Uh,
And you got to, you showed people who maybe were going along with that. They were pressing their knuckles all over the world. Who's ever listening, they could be
Right.
pressing a knuckle
yeah.
and put themselves in that state of bliss.
Yeah.
And so that can be applied to anyone.
For sure. Anyone, any situation, any feeling or state that you want to, bring back in to your heart. And that we spent 5 minutes here. Imagine what really focusing and spending 45 minutes or.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's.
I like to say when I'm coaching, repetition causes intuition. If you repeat that exercise, you repeat this deprogramming, if you will. We need to deprogram. This world is off.
I know.
It's off. And it has my guest coming up is a really good friend who we talk about this thing, the Jezebel spirit. And there's something that's inside of people that's very dark, and it tries to capture us. And again, the reason you're here, the reason for this show, the reason you just did that exercise is so we can give people an alternative.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, this
I
was
love you, my
awesome.
friend.
I know you want
Yeah.
another, you want a sequel, but another episode. Hey, everybody. I hope you really are pressing your knuckle. And Ricky Powell is our guest. How do we get a hold of you? Do we find you on social media?
I am on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, Ricky Powell, lifelong happiness. I'm on X at choose happiness, and I'll even give you an old-fashioned phone number, 805-279-4222. Yeah,
There you go.
reach out. I'm happy to help in any way I can.
I love it.
And I just want to give a plug to Laughter Heals, by the way, because when I first heard you talk about Laughter Heals, I just have to say I think it is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it does heal, and it's so important.
Why don't you join us? Join the board.
I'd love to.
I'm looking. This is all about community.
Yeah.
We must come together as a community.
Yeah.
With the goal of oneness, with the goal of happiness,
Yeah.
with the goal of laughter,
Yeah.
with the goal of light. This is something, it just gets pushed away, and especially Hollywood, which we both come from, you especially.
Yeah.
We come from it. It's the opposite. It's called Tinseltown because it's about fake shine.
Right.
It's Hollywood in lights because it's fake light.
Yeah.
It's not the light that's within us that wishes to shine and beam.
Well,
and you brought your light today. I appreciate you.
I would be honored. I would be honored to
Awesome.
be on your board.
Thank you, bro.
Sure.
Hey, thanks for checking us out. Make sure, please, you spread the word. It's Still Standing Up, Craig Shoemaker. Just tell 2 people. Make it like Amway. Remember the old pyramid Amway?
Yeah, tell 3. Tell 3.
6. It was actually 6 people.
Okay, yes.
And you'll help us out that way. All right, have a wonderful day, and hope you enjoyed today. And go and do this. ViotechUSA.com, Ricky. You need to go there. Viotech, it's focus, energy, mood, memory. So you want more focus, more energy, just check out Viotech, okay? It's really amazing. It's the formulas are top shelf formulas where it's about you. It's about nutrition, sports nutrition. Viotech, go check it out. We give these bottles to our guests, and our guests are very happy, and you will be too.